In this lesson, we'll learn how we can work more efficiently and still create visually appealing graphics using blends. Alright, so in previous lessons we talked about how we can use symbols within our document to work more efficiently. Now, let's go ahead and talk about blends for a moment here in Illustrator. Now, a blend allows you to create two paths or two shapes and then let Illustrator fill in the space between them, blending the two objects together. I tell you what, I've got a few shapes down here below my artboard on the scratch area, and we're going to use these to illustrate this concept. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and grab a couple of these shapes. Maybe we pull over a rectangle here and switch that to a black fill, and let's go ahead and pull over, let's grab a star for right now, and we'll switch that to a black fill. And tell you what, let's go ahead and just change these and change the color of these as well. So let's go ahead and grab maybe a green color here and maybe an orange color for this other shape here. So our blend tool actually is in our toolbox here. It's right here, and it's the keyboard shortcut W. Now, if we double click on this tool, we can actually access the options for the blend tool. Now, there's three basic ways a blend can be created. It can be created with a specified number of steps, a specified distance, or a smooth color. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and check out this smooth color blend for right now. And we've got a couple orientation options here. This one orients the blend to the page, and this one orients the blend to the path that it's sitting on. And we'll talk more about that here in just a moment, but let's go ahead and hit OK on that for right now. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and just click with our blend tool on each of these two shapes. And you can see here that the blend is not only blending the shape, but it's also blending the color here. So notice there is a small path that runs from the center of one shape to the center of the other, connected by two anchor points. And we'll talk more about that here in just a moment. But first I want to go ahead and show you how you can release a blend. Now, with your blend selected, we can come up to Object and choose Blend, and then choose Release right here, and we can actually release that blend. If we wanted to use a keyboard shortcut to do that, we could do that with Control-Alt-Shift-B to release a blend. We can create a blend using Control-Alt-B, and again, it looks just like it did before. Now, notice the Illustrator is filling in all the information between the two shapes. So these aren't actual vectors that are being created between the two shapes. It's the blend that's being created. If for some reason we needed to create all these shapes and all these anchor points between the two shapes, we could actually come up and choose Object, Blend, and then choose Expand to expand that blend. I'm not going to do that right now because that would create a lot of anchor points, and it might take Illustrator some time to actually create all those for a smooth color blend. But I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and take a look at this line that runs between our two shapes. Now, this is actually called a spine. Now, the blend spine is actually just like a path with two anchor points on it. We could select either one of these anchor points and modify this path however we need to. Now, we can also grab our Convert Anchor Point tool, which is Shift-C for your keyboard shortcut, and it's right here in your toolbox. We can actually pull out some Bezier handles if we really wanted to for this blend. Let's pull one straight up here, and let's go and pull one down. Actually, let's pull this one up. And you can see here how that affects our blend. This is basically just a path that we can change just like two anchor points. We can pull out the Beziers, we can change the curves, we can do whatever we need to, just like this is any other type of path. So at this point, let's go ahead and come over here and take a look at a couple other shapes here. I'm going to go ahead and grab these two rectangles. Let's go ahead and pull these down, and I tell you what, let's go ahead and give these rectangles a black fill with no stroke. And I tell you what, let's go ahead and give one of these a color. Let's go ahead and color this one sort of a green color. Maybe we color this one sort of a red color. Actually, let's go ahead and apply that to the fill and not the stroke. And the same with this shape. Alright, so let's go ahead and create a new blend between these two shapes, but instead of using a smooth color blend, let's go ahead and apply a step blend here based on a 4-step, and let's go ahead and leave it oriented to the page. So we'll go ahead and do that and just click on these two shapes here, and you can see here we've got 4 steps in between the two original shapes. So again, you know, this is a path in between. We can modify this just like any other path. So let's go ahead and pull out some Bezier handles here for this path. Be kind of difficult to click on there. I had the blue anchor point on a green shape. So you can see here Right now it appears that this blend is oriented to the path itself. I tell you what, let's come over here, look at our blend options, and let's change this to where it's oriented to the page. So we'll do that, and you can see here that each of these shapes is oriented to the rulers of our document. So let's go ahead and switch this around. Let's go ahead and change this to distance. Now you can see here that there's 4 points between each step here, and that's not very much. So you can see there's basically a smooth color blend going on. But if we change this to maybe 400 points, you can see here there's quite a bit more space between the shapes that are being blended. So really there's a lot of versatility that exist within blends to really create a variety of different looks, effects, and shapes within your document. I tell you what, for this document right here, there's one specific area where I thought I might go ahead and use a blend. Now we've got these gradients here. We've got a gradient here in our header area. We've also got a gradient here sort of behind these gallery image placeholders. And that's kind of a smooth gradient. Maybe I want to create a little more stylized stepping feel. Maybe that looks like it's receding more into the background. And I want to do that, I think, with a couple of lines. I tell you what, let's go ahead and pull this path up with, that we have a stroke applied to, and let's go ahead and turn on our smart guides with a Control U, and let's use the smart guides to line that up with that gradient here. So we're going to create a line that is equal to the width of that gradient here. If we can get this path to snap to that gradient, just zoom in on that nice and tight. How about we just pull it up there? We had something below that our path was snapping to. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and stretch this out just a little bit more here, and let's go ahead and apply maybe a 1-point stroke to this path. And let's go ahead and pull another one of these up, and let's maybe apply maybe a 10-point stroke to this path. Alright, so I think for this one I want to be able to have the control to specify the number of steps between my blend. So let's go ahead and grab our blending options here, and let's go ahead and say maybe we want 8 steps between our blends. And we'll align this to the page. So I want to go ahead and click on this path here, and let's click on this path here. And you can see here we sort of get this, this effect of one thick path transitioning into one thin path here. And like I said, this is actually created just using 4 anchor points and 2 paths. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this up into position here. And I tell you what layer were we working on here? Yeah, we're on the header layer, so let's go ahead and stay on that. And let's go ahead and bring this forward a few times. Alright, so we're into position here. I want to go ahead and snap that thin path right into position here above our navigation bar here. So let's go ahead and pull that in right about there, and let's see how that looks. Looks like we're hiding that path. Let's go ahead and pull that right in there, and I think that looks pretty good. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and create maybe another one of these blends. Let's go ahead and just drag a copy of that down, and let's go ahead and maybe we want to do the same thing for this gallery preview here. So let's go ahead and rotate this around using our rotate tool, which is the keyboard shortcut R, and let's go ahead and just use Control X to cut that. And I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and lock this header layer, and let's go ahead and get this blend on this gallery layer here. So we're going to paste that in, and that looks like it pasted it above that layer, so I'm just going to drag that down and drop it in my gallery layer. And let's go ahead and just snap this into position right there on top of our gallery gradient. So looks like it's being rather tough. There we go. We're snapped into position here. Actually, it looks like we grabbed the wrong shape. Let's go ahead and snap that into position just like so. And let's go ahead and change the size of this gradient. Maybe we just snap that into the document there. Right about like that. Now we'll go ahead and just send that to the back a few times and bring it forward once. And we've got another matching blend here that integrates into the gradient here at the bottom of our screen, behind our gallery images. Alright, so in this lesson we have talked about using a blend within our design here. Hopefully you can see how we can save some time using a blend and also create some really visually appealing graphics that we can use in our artwork.